When launching, should we reduce the bids on our exact match single keyword campaigns? When should we pause them? What is the keyword is really relevant but not converting? We give away our complete launch strategy. If you go to our website and you go to resources and you go into select product launch strategy, I just input your email. Promise you we don't spam. We put out some really great newsletters. You'll be added to the newsletter, but the main thing is you will get A to Z launch system. It's like a 32-page document. I give it all away. And when I mean all away, including optimization questions. What you want to do in the beginning when you come to single keyword campaigns, you definitely want to make sure you have a strong starting bid. And there's questions around budgets and things. But basically what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're getting enough impressions to really be able to evaluate things. And then what you're going to do is you're going to see, do those keywords convert? Because if they do not convert, you're not going to rank on them if you're not driving orders. Again, Amazon's going to happily take your money for the traffic, but you need to make sure that you're sending those positive signals to the algorithm. And so if you are not, so you got to get impressions, you got to get clicks, and then those clicks need to go into orders. So you need to start evaluating the shopper funnel. And then if you are not getting conversion rates, you do want to start reducing the bids. Now, ideally, you have something that does convert. So our goal in the beginning is to determine where do these products convert and where can I drive enough volumes that I'm able to push out on ranking. So if things are not converting, one, you want to make sure you have enough clicks to fully evaluate that. How do you determine that? If you are not converting, again, you want to make sure that you have enough clicks. So you use your conversion rate to determine how many clicks you need on average to generate a sale. Now, you have to at least get one order or have some order to evaluate a conversion rate. Now, that can be an organic order. Most likely, it's going to be an ads order. And then you're simply going to take your orders and divide it by your clicks. And that's going to tell you like what your conversion rate is for that product. Once you know what your conversion rate is, you take that conversion rate, you do 1 divided by your conversion rate. And that's going to give you how many clicks on average it takes you to convert an order. And from there, you can say, have I gotten enough clicks on average through this keyword to determine if it converts or if it doesn't. We're not looking for profitability right now. What we're trying to determine is, do they convert or not? So it sounds like in your question, you're like, hey, they're super relevant. Sometimes relevancy doesn't actually convert. So what you can do is you can start reducing the bids by 10 to 20% to see if a lower CPC will have you convert. But oftentimes what we'll do is we'll pause them, or we'll do what we call like a soft pause, which is setting the bids to 17 cents. So they're still technically active, but we're not going to be aggressively going after them because we've gotten enough clicks to determine. Sometimes in the beginning, you need reviews. Maybe you're still figuring out your offer, meaning like your price point. You might be playing with other metrics to help with that conversion rate. And so oftentimes in the beginning, even keywords that you think make sense for the product don't necessarily convert. So what we do in the beginning is like, hey, if it's not converting, let's not keep spending money on it. Let's just double down on the ones that convert, which to be honest, oftentimes is not the top keywords in our space, unfortunately. So I have a bonus troubleshoot. By the way, if you don't have this, or you might be going off of this, but if you don't have this, I would look at this. This is going to be super, super helpful for you for product launch. Problem 2, clicks but no orders. What to check? So check your listings. If you're not getting anything that's converting, look at your listings. A lot of times in the beginning, we think that our listings are optimized when in all honesty, we don't always get it right out of the gate. In fact, I don't know if we ever really get it 100% correct out of the gate. And so you want to take a look at your listings and infographics. Price to value ratio. Again, take a look at where you are versus competitors in your market. If you decide to launch a more premium product, which you can do and get away with sometimes in certain niches, but you also have to make sure that your listing clearly displays the value. Because let's think about it. If you have a product, if you're in launch phase, you have maybe only a couple reviews and you're priced at the higher end of the market. Like if there is any other product on the market that a shopper would perceive is just as good and they have better reviews, so they're more vetted and they have a lower price point, they're always gonna, I'm gonna say always, but generally speaking, they're gonna purchase the cheaper options. So you want to make sure that your listing, and when I say listing, I mean your images. Your images need to fully portray. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to sellers and they'll tell me like, oh yeah, like you know your products really well. So they're like, hey, this is a more thicker version of the, you know, I've used more premium, like there's double stitching, or there should be some reason why you are at the price point that you're at or charging what you're charging. And it needs to be very apparent to shoppers that you are the premium option. And to do that, you really need to display it in your images. Again, I've talked to a lot of sellers, and when I talk to them about their products, they're like, oh yeah, you know, this is more premium, there's this, there's that. Like they're listing all of these benefits and features. And when I go there to the listing, I'm like, this is not apparent anywhere in the listing. And I'll ask them, I'll say like, hey, where do you have this? Like, oh, it's like, it's in the 4th bullet point. Seller or shoppers don't really read bullet points. Like, you know your product, you know your listing. So inherently you just like understand that. A fantastic way to evaluate a listing, just give it to somebody who doesn't know the product really well and say like, hey, what do you think about this product? What do you understand about this product? You'll get really raw feedback. Don't let it hurt your feelings. Treat it as a learning exercise. But I would say find targets that are converting and double down on there, because again, there is a reason why they're not purchasing yet. And it could very well be that it's in the beginning stages of the product, and eventually you can go after those keywords, but you may not have a strong enough offer. When I say offer, I mean like images as well as like reviews and everything else. You just might not have a strong enough offer to compete on those key terms yet. And that's honestly quite normal.